summary of every time that Jeffree Star has been racist.
God, you stupid ape, I'm gonna spray you. What the hell? Will you beat that?
How are you a they? What the does that mean?
Jeffree Star is being slammed after making, quote, disgusting comments about non-binary people.
Not into all the other bullshit. What other bullshit? The they and them.
I mean, let me ask the audience.
You stupid You're literally playing games with my life and bothering my night.
In my humble opinion, Jeffree Star is one of the most evil and unhinged creators, like, on all of YouTube as a platform. Like, even when I was a Shane fan, like, I know, Shane fan, back in the day, during the documentary era, I was like, all the alarm bells in my head were like telling me, Shane, you do not want to hang out with this person. You do not want to interact with this person. You do not want to associate with Jeffree Star. And I don't know, I just got such a weird kind of like vibe from him. And I didn't even know like the full depths of anything he had done at that point. Hey everybody, I'm Justin Jordan, and today we're gonna be at least trying to go over a bulk of the controversies that Jeffree Star has had himself embroiled in or has been involved in some way. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to cover absolutely everything today. There are going to be some things that I unfortunately may miss. Let me know down below in the comments, like, if you notice anything that you're like, oh, this should have been in the video. I, again, want to just emphasize that, like, there are going to be some serious topics spoken about today. So, honestly, like, what I feel like got a lot of people talking about Jeffree Star again, got a lot of people thinking about him again, was the episode of the Cancelled podcast that he was on. For those who don't know, Cancelled is basically the podcast of Tana Mongeau and Brooke Schofield, both of whom have been, I guess the name is kind of a way to make fun of the fact that both of them have been in a lot of scandals of their own. Tana is, I think, more complicated in my opinion because she was very young at the time of a lot of her controversies. Like, she is, I believe, in her mid-20s now, but like, when she first got online, she was very, very young. Brooke Schofield recently found herself in a controversy for a lot of racist tweets finding their way back on the internet, which, ooh, I could do a whole video on that. But regardless, we're going to be focusing on Jeffree. So basically, he was on the podcast, and a lot of people were like, this is just so weird how, like, Tana and Brooke just kind of seem scared of him. Like, Brooke really, in my opinion, couldn't get a word in throughout the whole, like, podcast. And, like, Tana was just very, like, yes, Jeffree, like, yes, like, wasn't really disagreeing with him, wasn't really pushing him on some of the
I heard Tati's trying to do live stream. It's flopping.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
points, especially when he got into stuff like, we'll get into it a little bit later, but he got into some Dramageddon stuff. People were like, this is, like, bad. Like, why are we platforming Jeffree? The episode got a lot of backlash. Trisha Paytas was also going to host an episode with Jeffree, and it just got scrapped. Never got released because the controversy after Tana's episode was just that bad. But afterwards, even though, literally, if you watch the episode, you couldn't tell me that, like, Tana and Brooke, or at least Tana, was kind of not really questioning him, not really pushing him. Like, he had such an easy interview, but apparently he says he couldn't get a word on his TikTok live. And it's like, dude, regardless, reception was not good, okay? Here's what one person, like, on the canceled Reddit ended up saying, and we're gonna get into it because I kind of agree low-key. Jeffree gives me such gross narcissistic vibes. A lot of the stuff he said about James, while true, is also projection because Jeffree himself is a predator, but rules for thee, not for me, am I right? He constantly strokes his own ego about money, etc. He also strokes his own ego by saying he's an authentic person or whatever bull says. He's a snake. He instigated the entire bi-sister thing. He wanted to take down James Charles because he was competition, and he succeeded. James Charles sucks too, but Jeffree is a piece of work. He's pathologically dangerous, but not as sloppy as James. Jeffree is a master manipulator. Of course, don't want to say anything about, you know, the diagnosis, I guess, aspect of it, like the narcissistic personality disorder. I can't, I'm not a doctor, but, like, I do agree with the fact that Jeffree is very good at, like, manipulating audiences, at trying to make himself seem like the best person in all circumstances. Like, he has skeletons in his own closet, which we are going to be going over in detail today. Let's start back in the beginning. I mean, like, the literal beginning. Jeffree Star was born in 1985 in Los Angeles, saying in an LA Weekly article in 2007 that he knew he was gay since 5th grade. Star would eventually, I guess, convince his mom to let him wear makeup at school. And, you know, he probably honestly, like, did face a lot of discrimination, even in LA at the time, being an openly gay person wearing makeup at school. You can see, like, some of his yearbook pictures. He just looks different, you know what I mean? So he probably definitely did go through a lot of bullying, which he'll later try to excuse some of his actions kind of for this. Like, oh, I was bullied. But it's like, I was also bullied, but I didn't go on the internet and start saying slurs that I can't reclaim. After graduating, he became a Hollywood figure, going to clubs, doing makeup, modeling, basically the quintessential Hollywood dream. We'll talk about this more in depth later, but there is he was very I guess seen kind of in that goth scene kind of space. There's even a picture of him where I can't show it, or I'll have to heavily censor it, but he injured his arms, and you can see visible injuries in the photo. So yeah. So he would really take off around 2006, 2007 on MySpace. I personally wasn't on MySpace at all, didn't know anything about that because being someone born in 2005, I was in the crib at that time, the literal crib. Apparently it was like Twitter, but more customizable. Someone said this. It was Facebook before Facebook with the ability to customize everything. A lot of us wound up learning HTML so we can make our page ours. So honestly, it sounds really cool. I love the idea of having something that's super customizable, but unfortunately, we're going to be talking about the not fun side of MySpace today. So again, Jeffree became really famous on MySpace, but he also partook in a lot of racist, sexist, misogynistic, and quite frankly, disgusting behavior. So here's a video compiling a lot of his really disgusting behavior, including him saying the N-word multiple times, threatening random women on the street, and even at some point saying that he's going to, quote, kill someone like Anna Nicole, which is just so utterly insane and disgusting.
I win by having diamond rims, and you win by being a poor Mexican. Shut up, you fucking bitch! Slut! God, you stupid ape, I'm gonna spray you, bitch. Will you beat that the fuck? You're a fucking ugly ass bitch. Fuck you, ho. That ugly bitch, you stupid cunt. Bitch, I'll kill you like Anna.
He makes several apology videos later, but I'm sorry, nothing could honestly excuse this for me. Excuse me if I'm being the friend who's too woke here, but a lot of the excuses that I would hear later from Jeffree kind of revolve around oh, I was, people are calling me the F slur, people are bullying me. In those videos, I didn't really see people calling him the F slur. I didn't really see people instigating to him. A lot of people will face one type of oppression, right? People discriminating against you for being gay, which is horrible, right? But then they'll take that and they'll be like, so I know what oppression feels like, so I can say the N-word and that's fine. And it's no, you can't. That's a totally different experience. You did not experience that. As someone who's experienced both types of discrimination, it's just really disgusting to see Jeffree use the fact that he was discriminated against as an excuse to discriminate against others and just be an utterly horrible person. Harassing random women on the street is not something you should do at all. You've never experienced that discrimination of misogyny. You've never had to feel unsafe, walking at the streets at night. And maybe you did, but again, it's not the same exact experience, and you can't just sit here and project your own experience and use that as an excuse to discriminate against people in other communities. It's just, the logic isn't working. The math isn't mathing. Jeffree also took a number of offensive pictures during this time, and here's one of him posing with the Confederate flag. For my non-Americans out there, this is the flag of the side that wanted to keep slavery, basically fought to keep slavery during the Civil War. And here's another thing that Jeffree did during this time. Before creating Jeffree Star Cosmetics, he was also still involved with makeup and beauty, I guess. He was a makeup artist at some point, I believe. And so before creating Jeffree Star Cosmetics, apparently he was going to start this new website, which was called, I don't know if I can say it, I'm probably gonna have to censor it, but it's called Lipstick. Yeah, that's absolutely disgusting. It's not cute at all. There's multiple promo images for this. A lot of this stuff, honestly, has been scrubbed from the internet, but there's promo images here where I can't show because, again, Jeffree literally, injured his wrists. I don't know how to say that, but if you get what I mean, you get what I mean. I might have to heavily blur it. I guess I hadn't mentioned this, but he had a music career. Apparently I think he said he was going to be the next Lady Gaga. I talked about that in the last video, and I was just something went wrong. And I think it's just so crazy to me that he was almost really mainstream. He was selling out tours. He was doing pretty well for himself. And the lyrical content of some of this stuff, even though it's 2009 or whatever, I think this is more than enough to get you canceled in 2009. So here's his song entitled We Want, I can't say the last word. Here's some of the lyrics.
Request me for the last meals. Asian tourists scream when I walk down the street. I love like Anna Nicole loves trend spots. My lipstick while wearing pajama ninja train bro.
Oh, like, I'm sorry, but oh my God. I know the internet was in its like edgy era or whatever back then, but like, I really feel like you'd be canceled back then. Like I was saying, like, I feel like this is more than enough to put you in the ground back in 2009. Apparently he removed it from Apple Music. And one thing that also really bothered me when I was looking at the YouTube video, there were comments like, oh my gosh, like, this is so good. This is like what, like, oh, Jeffree, you ate, or like, why is this not on Apple Music? Excuse me? Like, okay, whatever, you're racist, right? You're okay with Jeffree saying the N-word, okay? He also just randomly talks about JonBenet Ramsey in a manner. Like, what? How are you sitting here gagging over that? Like, and also the song literally just sounds like he's just talking into the microphone. Like, it's not giving. The fact that he was also like, he literally is a song collabing with Nicki Minaj, and also, like, I guess apparently was supposed to be like, or was on the way to being a more noted and like, I guess, famous beauty figure at the time. Don't ever let anybody tell you that your digital footprint will hold you back, because Jeffree Star is still a millionaire, even though this stuff is out there. Like, he still was getting collabs with Nicki Minaj. He still was, I guess, at some point close to being Hollywood elite. Thank God that didn't happen, because this is absolutely disgusting. Here is Jeffree Star participating in a skit in which he says that a girl should splash acid on her face to lighten her skin tone.
You say black folk cannot wear MAC cosmetics and you splash your acid in her face.
Well, maybe if she wasn't wearing the wrong foundation color, I wouldn't have to splash no battery acid. I wanted to lighten her skin tone, girl. Who, that little black Keisha? Honey, I am a woman of wealth, and that black bitch did not see me steal nothing. I was paying with my platinum visa.
There is just, I guess, so much to talk about in this skit alone. Like, it's not just Jeffree. Why is this other person on the side, like, basically pretending to do a faux black accent? And how do I say this? There was a few people who were like, oh, you know, like, when will we get over the fact that, like, this is just a joke, da-da-da-da? It's like, man is literally, like, basically saying that black, dark-skinned women should lighten their skin with acid. Like, how is that ever funny? And also, this other person sitting here talking in a faux black accent. As someone who literally had to walk on eggshells in elementary school because people were calling me like the N-word, and when I tried to go to the guidance counselor, I was told that they were just joking and, you know, they were just saying this other word, like, and that caused me a great deal of trauma to see Jeffree Star sit here and I never faced any like tangible consequences for any of this behavior, still be a millionaire, still have clout, still have a level of power. It's just really disgusting. And like, honestly, words can't describe how upsetting it is to see this type of behavior be accepted and excused constantly. The double standard is crazy as well, because low-key, there are a lot of like black artists, black creators who will get in like one scandal and they're over, and like valid, right? But I feel like this standard is not duplicitous, because people like Jeffree Star are just totally able to have this type of footage out on them and no consequences. No consequences, or like, oh, I made one apology video, that means everything's okay. And I just truly feel like this is a pattern of behavior that really disturbs me with Jeffree. Not only did he seem comfortable using the N-word, not only did he seem comfortable making fun of black women's faces, making fun of people's skin tones, this is something that we'll get into later, but he gets into drama and starts arguing with black creators who call him out, or even, you know, regularly gets in an argument with, but he's just so violent and just so nasty towards black women who like oppose him in any way, shape, or form. And I really think it's so disturbing given this additional context of him being openly racist in the past. And he has the nerve to sit here and act like those 2 apology videos that he made are enough for us to just forgive and forget. Like, I'm sorry. This is one that really just disgusts me, because around this time in 2009, Jeffree has a tweet in which he talks about Justin Bieber in a sexual manner, and Justin Bieber was 15 years old. Jeffree was about 24 years old at this time. So, like, imagine, like, I think this is something else, but, like, Jeffree Star is, like, 1985, I'm not saying that's old, right? But, like, you know, oh, maybe people are like, oh, maybe he was so young during this time. Mid-20s. Like, are you okay? So here's the tweet. Jeffree Star tweeted, quote, "Who else wonders how big Justin Bieber's is?" And like, I know that Jeffree wasn't the only one tweeting this, but that doesn't make it okay at all. Like, And the idea that people were just openly tweeting this type of stuff, like, I guess the 2010s were, like, I guess just such a different time. When I was a kid, for some reason, I felt so, like, insecure about being, like, I guess younger. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I would have loved to play The Sims 2 when it first came out. I would have loved to whatever. And then I'm like, oh, like, I see this type of stuff being accepted, being normalized, being just, like, out in the street. Jeffree starts saying the N-word at people, and, like, he still had a career. Like, I'm like, thank God I was born at the time I was. Like, you know, things might not be great now, but like, Jesus Christ, the idea that he could literally sit here and participate in that type of behavior and people were acting like it was normal is just so crazy to me. I also want to bring up the fact that Jeffree would later make allegations against James Charles for being a PDF file, but it's like, you have this stuff about you out there. It's like, again, going back to this idea that Jeffree wants to be the good person in every scenario, right? But Jeffree also sometimes seems to forget the fact that he participated in some of the same behaviors, that he engaged in a lot of the same behaviors that he's calling these people out for. And if you think it couldn't get worse, here's a tweet from Jeffree in which he calls one of his own, like, fans fat for some reason. So this is an Instagram post from the fan. Apparently Jeffree Star says this: "I'm not a real celebrity, yet your fat ass waited outside stalking me. We're getting you thrown out if you dare come in." The fan says, "Back in August of 2009, I waited outside of a small concert venue in Pontiac, Michigan to try and meet Jeffree Star. It was one of the absolute worst celebrity experiences of my life. He was a complete intellectual to me, and when I called him out on Twitter, he immediately direct messaged me and essentially called me a fat stalker." Jesus. Like, your own fans, and I don't know the full breadth and the full context of this, but like, these are the people literally giving you a career. These are the people literally giving you money, and you're treating them like absolute garbage on top of the racism, on top of this other, like, it's so much, Jeffree. Like, there is a literal library out there on you, and you're sitting here in your mansion sipping tea, acting like you didn't do nothing. That was one of the things that made me so upset and so angry during like the kind of Tana canceled podcast, because I watched the whole thing. Might not be able to insert clips because I don't feel like rewatching it. It was like an hour of basically nothing burger, an hour of seeing Jeffree Star sit here and spin his own narrative about what happened and not really be pushed back. It was kind of interesting look into his psychology, into his kind of like, I don't know, his mind, because he always is a good person in these scenarios, right? He can never be wrong. And it's just like, okay, like, you also have this stuff about you. You might be right about these people, right? But like, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. James is discussing his own right. But Jeffree, you cannot be sitting out here acting like you're the police of like what is appropriate and what is inappropriate. Because that tweet of you tweeting about Justin Bieber in 2010, regardless, if you were 25 and he was 16, still disgusting to me. I'm like, still disgusting to me. And while we're talking about his tweets and his tweeting behaviors, tweeting habits, here's another tweet from Jeffree Star, and this is just really abhorrent, honestly, really disgusting. So, just for context, Jeffree Star is tweeting at who I'm assuming is another fellow makeup artist. At our tweet, Kevin, "Fighting online is like competing in the Special Olympics. Even if you win, you're still R-worded." And then Seth MUA says, "At Jeffree Star, you blocked me for what? Because you want to talk about my disability and can't even hear or talk but face beat? Hashtag Jeffree Star, I hate you." Just disgusting, the fact, like, it's like, what community has Jeffree Star not offended at this point? He's offended the black community. He's attacked and harassed random women on the street. He's came for special needs people. He also talked about Mexicans and like Latino people. Like, Jeffree, who have you not offended yet? Like, dude is literally sitting here saying slurs and being offensive towards these communities like it's infinity stones or something. Before I get people in my comments talking about, oh, like, this word is fine to use, I'm not trying to get into the slur Olympics today. I'm not trying to get into the slur discourse Olympics. So before we move into the makeup mogul era of Jeffree Star, there's something that we have to discuss, and this is like really, this is going to be a lot. And that is the Dahvie vanity friendship and allegations. So for context, while Jeffree had been on the music scene, he had allegedly at least gotten semi-close and had been seen multiple times, toured multiple times with someone named Dahvie Vanity, a member of the band Blood on the Dance Floor, which is kind of like I guess, described as like an electronic band that was more popular in like the late 2010s era. So Vanity, at the age of 22, would receive only a warning for literally 14-year-old girl, and despite this being on record, a HuffPost article claims that he only received a warning for this, which I think is just so outrageous, so disgusting. This is something that really upsets me a lot, is the fact that not only is it so hard to report these types of crimes, but the sentencing is just not there for it for some reason. Like, while it is definitely, I guess, changing a little bit, the sentencing is definitely not there. Like, a lot of people will get warnings or like probation or like 1, 2, 3 years in jail. And it's like, no, like this is something that traumatized somebody for life. This is something that the victim is going to have to try to heal from for life. And the fact that a lot of these people get away with it, and the fact that people constantly question victims and constantly like, well, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Da 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 da. We don't have the proof. It's like, it's so hard to come out and talk about this type of stuff. It's so hard to make these allegations alone. And like I was saying in my James Charles video, again, I'd rather believe a liar than a potential pedophile. Vanity also was accused of a lot of other things from various acts of SA from 21 women. Just blows my mind that our legal system is just so slow, because 21 people making allegations against you. The fact that this many people can have this experience with this person and this person is still walking around free. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I haven't seen anything about like a new arrest record. I really honestly think that this man should be underneath the jail at this point, should not be seeing the light of day at all. But Jeffree Star, again, I have to say allegedly, was close to Dahvie Vanity, but would go back and forth on like whether or not he believed that he was, involved. At one point tweeting this in 2011, I'm gonna speak the truth until I die. We saw at bot DF Music, Dahvie bring underage girls to his hotel rooms and do things, 100% illegal. He continues, I no longer support, at Dahvie Vanity basically, how disgusting vanity is. Touching, enjoying the attention is evil. Being on tour with that child effer has made me see the truth. I regret ever doing a song with that pig. RIP, because you'll never be me. If you support that, then unfollow me because you're supporting. Dahvie is the lowest worthless scum I've. Very passionate about this fact that, he was cutting off Vanity, he was done. So why in 2012 would Jeffree Star again go on tour with this man after making these very bold, very confident allegations? And Jeffree was not the victim in this scenario. I again want to emphasize that blaming victims is something that's not productive, something that we should honestly not really be doing. Like, if somebody didn't want to speak out at a certain time, that's valid because they're scared, especially as a victim. But Jeffree Star was someone who was collaborating with Vanity, with the band at this time, touring with them. So it's like, to make those allegations and say that you've seen something, right? And then to go back and then just go on tour with them is so odd. It doesn't add up. So Jeffree then tweets this in 2013. Again, I believe about 2 years after he had made those first series of tweets. So much love for at BOTDF Music, basically Dahvie Vanity. After 7 years of friendship, nothing can tear us apart. And then someone says, at Jeffree Star, so why did you make false accusations against him? First of all, in my opinion, those accusations weren't false. I think that it just might not have been convenient for Jeffree to remember the fact that he made those allegations while he was making money with this person and going on tour with them. In my opinion, I have to say in my opinion. Vanity tweets, Jeffree has apologized to my face for making those false accusations. It's dead and buried. We're cool again. Oh, okay, so Vanity and Jeffree are apparently cool again, right? So how come in 2020, when Jeffree appears on an episode of To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, he basically turns around and saying that Dahvie was horrible and emphasizes that he hasn't been involved with Vanity, or again, said that he hadn't seen anything.
But I never witnessed anything that could be used as evidence. And I think somehow people think I do and I'm not saying it. So for the record, no one has any contracts against me. But I get it. I tweeted out a lot of stuff and then I worked with him again. So Chris, I think I would love to explain why I worked with him again, because people don't understand that.
Let's go there. You send out these tweets, and yet in 2012, I believe, correct? You go back out on tour and essentially make public statements that
and a lot of people
and you're supporting him at this point. Well, how do you square that with people who question?
Yeah, well, a lot of people know I'm very dramatic and I say things all the time in a very grandiose manner. So everyone wants me to address every single tweet. Let's go. Me calling Dahvie my brother, that's just me being dramatic. Dahvie was never my brother. We were never best friends. You can think that, 100% not the case.
So it's like, which one is it, Jeffree? Because while you were sitting here acting like you had seen everything, you were done, you were cutting him off, right? All of a sudden, it's turning back around and you haven't seen anything, you haven't heard anything. So this flip-flopping to make yourself seem like a good person for going back on tour with him, acting like you hadn't seen anything, trying to explain away the fact that you had gone back on tour with this freaking creep after you'd already come out against him on the internet, just blows my mind. I don't see a world where you really backtrack that. Like, of course, those tweets were scrubbed from the internet. Jeffree tried his hardest and his darndest to get those tweets gone. That was deleted, that wasn't on his page no more. I think this goes back to the pattern that we've seen of Jeffree constantly making himself seem like the good person, constantly trying to make himself seem like the hero in these situations. And it's like, there's evidence right in front of us saying that you, in my opinion, you said you knew about stuff happening, right? And then you go back and you say, no, I didn't. We weren't even brothers. I know I said we were, but I was being dramatic. We weren't really friends. It's like, dude, you can't sit here and act like you were best buddies with this person, and then when there's allegations against them, all of a sudden you don't know them. So now we're going to be entering more modern era Jeffree Star. There is a lot of controversies and kind of like drama that he got into, but I want to, I guess, connect mostly to his discriminatory patterns of behavior as it pertains to this, because I think a lot of the dramas that he got into, yes, he was very nasty to those people, but I feel like he was especially nasty to Black women and creators who were Black, which I think is important to remember because this man was throwing out the N-word like it was candy on Halloween. So he kind of skirted past his controversial and dodgy past, making Jeffree Star Cosmetics, doing beauty reviews of stuff. Honestly, not to give credit to him or whatever, but like he came into like the beauty makeup space at one of the perfect times. 2014, 2015, 2016, beauty makeup, YouTube was like booming, it was bustling. Jeffree had came onto the scene. Jeffree Star Cosmetics had made him pretty dang rich, okay? Had a huge mansion in Calabasas, very wealthy, very powerful, and had come into this wealth and this power. Basically, like, his overall aesthetic, I'll say, during his, like, beauty makeup YouTube era was like, oh, I'm rich, I'm elegant, I can get whatever Louis bag I want. That was kind of the vibe I was getting. Jeffree even got somewhat close to the Kardashians before enough of his racist and just really problematic past got out to the point where they didn't really want to publicly associate with him anymore, which I think is just so funny, honestly. And he even claims up that he hooked up with some of Kanye's rapper friends.
Shout out to Kim, I love her. She's so little.
You guys are friends?
Got it. Yeah, we're acquaintances.
Right, you guys have been around each other. You're both in the same space.
Yes.
And so during this space, it could have been very easy for a guy like Kanye to come up to you and try to catch hands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It
was more so fun hooking up with his friends.
Okay.
There was a rumor going around that he hooked up with Kanye, and Jeffree denied this, like, heavily. This is something that he talks about a lot, like, that he'll get with these powerful men, and, you know, he can't tell us who he got with because they would kill him if he talked about it. And, like, it's not a major, like, I don't care. I'm sorry. Can I be honest and say I don't really care that Jeffree Star hooked up with this famous person or whatever. Like, if this is true, I don't really care. Whatever. You're both rich, you're both powerful. It doesn't make me see you in a different light. Like, oh my gosh, you're so cool. You got with Kanye or one of his rapper friends or whatever. Like, I don't care. Especially given the fact that you are literally, like, in my opinion, a racist, a disgusting human being. There are a lot of dramas that Jeffree got into during this time period. And for time's sake, I cannot cover all of them. There's a great video done by Kiki Chanel where she goes over everything. It's multiple parts. I will also link this Reddit thread, which has a lot of like these controversies as well. Side note on that Reddit thread, a lot of those links unfortunately do not work anymore. So you may have to like kind of go into Google Images and like find things like that way. So Jeffree was accused of doing blackface in one of his campaigns for Jeffree Star Cosmetics, featuring Nikita Dragun, she has a lot on her own plate, let's just say, okay? Yeah. So in my opinion, this image, I don't know whether it's the makeup, I don't know whether it's, something happened in the editing process because Nikita Dragun is not that skin tone. Nikita Dragun is not that skin tone. And like, it is low-key, like I don't think it's a stretch to say it's blackface. Jeffree also did things like wear cornrows, and like a lot of people were upset about that. And like, how do I say this? People might disagree with me because a lot of people get this wrong about Black people. We're not a monolith. We have different opinions on what's problematic, what's right, what's wrong, whatever. But like general consensus I see is like, some people don't really care. Some people think it's like disgusting to wear like natural hairstyles like that. I personally find it funny. I'm sorry, I personally find it funny because it just never looks quite right. And sometimes it does. I mean, hey, if you have cornrows and they look good on your head, I mean, it might not be for your hair texture or whatever, but like, whatever. I just don't think it's like the most pressing issue. I just think it's funny. Like, when I see a white person with dreads, I'm just like, you look funny to me. Like, I see it as a joke. I see it as a comedy. And like, a lot of people don't care because they just get the money anyway. Like, braiders, they just take that money is theirs. Like, if you want cornrows, if you want dreads, okay, they'll give it to you. But like, I'm just saying that hair might start to fall out. It might start to fall out. I guess my perspective on this in this story is also skewed because like, I don't think it's the most important thing in the world. Like, this man was literally caught saying the N-word, and like, yes, I guess people can call him out for like his hairstyle if they want to, but I think there's more pressing matters here. Just my opinion. So Jeffree also got into drama with Shayla, another beauty kind of creator, makeup artist creator. She is a black woman, and Jeffree, I just really think this shows Jeffree's pattern of behavior towards black women as being very aggressive towards them, very nasty towards them. So like, Jeffree said things like this: at Makeup Shayla, please learn correct grammar if you're going to try to respond to someone with a college education. Makeup Shayla, you're deceased, so go flip your hair all day long, broke effing rat. And then Makeup Shayla says things like this: you should never be okay or support a man who says he will beat up a woman. At Makeup Shayla, you look and sound more like a man than I do, so relax. Really disgusting. This is a tweet made later, but this kind of, I think, is what Shayla was. This is the type of stuff that Jeffree would tweet. All these Instagram girls are all talk. I'll actually beat you to the effing ground, and I mean it. Really disgusting, honestly. Like, and then there's so many layers to this because we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. This is going to be a long video, but we have to talk about it. So a lot of black women are masculinized, and it is a very deep, long-rooted issue because it's so interesting as well because black women are also heavily sexualized, but also masculinized. Like, seen as more masculine for some reason, which is so stupid. Saying she looks more like a man than you do is really disgusting. And also the fact that Jeffree seems to be very fine with talking about beating women is weird. I guess I didn't really clarify this, but Jeffree identifies as a man, and he later, this is like, I won't say a minor controversy because it's really disgusting as well, but he also later says he doesn't get they, them pronouns or whatever. Like, it's like, I'm sorry, I gotta hold myself because, baby, you were like the most non-binary, I'm sorry, you were trying to bully people who use they, them pronouns, and it's like, people kind of assume that you use they, them pronouns, boo. Like, you cannot be sitting here trying to make fun of people who use they, them pronouns. So this next drama, I think, is gonna be one of the last ones that I covered, but it's really needed. So Jackie Aina is a YouTube beauty creator, and she called out Jeffree kind of for his comments because there was literally videos of Jeffree saying the N-word online. So Jackie Aina says stuff like this: I don't personally care about how you feel about me. Knowing you feel comfortable supporting someone who refers to black people as N-words, gorillas, rats, and uneducated tells me your judgment is flawed. Oh, something I forgot to mention as well, him kind of coming at Makeup Shayla saying, make sure you talk with correct grammar with someone who has a college education. Excuse me? And then he has never directed an apology towards me, Shayla, or any of the black women he's directly offended or said derogatory things about, publicly or privately. He apologized to the people who buy his products. That was enough for me. Honestly, she is right. And I just have to emphasize that it's so disgusting that Jeffree came for Jackie Aina with the ferocity that he did, because all she did was call him out for saying the N-word. And here are like alleged texts of Jeffree Star calling Jackie Aina a literal gorilla. And I know this is like a bad screenshot. Take it with a grain of salt, but again, like, given his past behaviors, given the way he seems comfortable with basically insulting black women, saying all this stuff about them, I don't think it's that far out of the realm of possibility. So apparently, I think he was talking to his hairstylist, allegedly. Haha, keeping it 100. And then someone says, always, I'm about to unfollow Angel. I'm tired of seeing his face on the gram. Do it. Are you done posting that gorilla? Would love to follow my friend again. I tried telling you a while ago, but I'm glad you experienced who he is really for yourself. And then, just to confirm that they're talking about Jackie in this screenshot, the hairstyle says, yeah, I gotta live and learn. I erased Jackie's pics next to your magazine cover. Hee hee. And then, this is the type of stuff that Jeffree says about Jackie Aina. At Jackie Aina, but you haven't paid your taxes in 3 years. Might want to do that before the December wedding, babe. God bless. I blocked that irrelevant rat months ago, way before her anti-haul. People use my name when their channels are stale. Worry about your own career, not why somebody blocked you. He always comes for people's money and fame and like career, whatever. And it's like, that is such a tired insult. It doesn't really make sense in this scenario because Jackie was literally just calling you out for your past racist behavior, and you kind of just proved her right because you took this as an opportunity to call her a gorilla behind her back and just insult her very nastily publicly. It's like the way he's so nasty towards Black people who call him out for his behavior is just really telling in my opinion. And I think it's very funny that he decided to bring up Jackie Aina's taxes when this is just, you know, word on the internet. But apparently Jeffree Star moved to Wyoming from California for tax reasons, allegedly. So just funny seeing Jeffree Star bring up people's taxes. And I'm just going to round this out because there are so many other things that I could talk about, but I think this is extremely important to bring up when we talk about Jeffree Star. He has allegations against himself. There's a very interesting and very, I think, well thought out Business Insider article which discussed this. It discussed how there were several allegations against Jeffree Star, including claims of abusive behavior and sexual assault. There's even allegations made that there were hush money payments made to stop the victims from speaking out. And yeah, just really disgusting. Several people said Jeffree Star actually preyed on men around him through non-consensual or at his music performances. And they also said he used a stun gun and a tasing device on the people around him for fun and revenge. Messages obtained by insiders show 2 insiders on the record sources discussing a $10,000 payout offer to Star. And of course, I have to say that Jeffree denies this, but I mean, yeah, it's really disgusting. 4 people who spoke with Insider said Star grabbed men around him without consent. 5 people told Insider they personally saw Jeffree Star use a close-range stun gun or other tasing device to hurt and intimidate people around him. And 5 people told Insider that in 2009, Star used a taser on a homeless teen who had rejected his affections in a movie theater. The teen later stayed the night in Star's apartment and told Insider that Star gave him an Ambien until he was intoxicated and forcibly performed without consent. Several people and publicly available internet posts corroborate key components of the former homeless teen's account. Star denied, of course, the allegations, but Insider obtained text messages showing 2 of the on-record sources for this article discussing what they said was a $10,000 offer from Star to recant their allegations. There's so much that can be said about that, and again, I guess I just want to round out my thoughts here, but I think the alleged $10,000 payout is such an important aspect here when we're talking about why it's important not to give people like Jeffree Star money, fame, importance. I have to say allegedly, I guess, but look how Jeffree allegedly is using his power, his money, his fame as a guard, a shield to avoid accountability, to silence victims, to basically bully these people into silence. It is so disgusting that this man still has a platform. It is so disgusting that people are gonna sit here. I don't know if I'll get any comments, but people literally sit in those comments of those videos of him being racist or his songs where he said the N-word and talked about John Benet Ramsey. People sit in those comments and talk about, oh, he's so iconic, oh, he's so this. Excuse me, you're literally defending someone who is utterly disgusting and who is, in my opinion, proven to use his power as a shield and a way to silence victims. Like, so disgusting. And I feel so horribly for these victims. And in the way that Jeffree Star can just sit here behind his probably extremely well-paid lawyer and say, oh, I never did this. Oh, I never did this. The victims don't have those type of resources. The victims don't have that type of power, that type of money. People are so like affected throughout their whole lives after their experiences like that. And that Jeffree Star is just still platformed. I think it's so disgusting how brands still want to work with this guy. And as someone who grew up basically feeling like I was less than because of my skin tone, the idea that this man consistently gets away with behavior showing that he hates, or at least he feels negatively towards people of my complexion, and has repeatedly basically avoided and shied from accountability for these actions, so disgusting. I don't even, like, I literally, like, I know I have like a script, but I just can't find the words to describe how tired I am of like these type of people getting platforms, of these type of people getting money, of these type of people getting fame, and then using that fame as a shield to continue to do these horrible things, and or basically shutter their past and try to gaslight the internet into believing that they never did these things and, oh, this was just a lie, oh, whatever. It's like, it gets to a point. But regardless, despite how upsetting this is, despite how depressing this is, I guess there is always hope because Jeffree Star is now doing TikTok lives all day. Okay, yes. He has transferred to TikTok Live, and unfortunately, he's still making money beyond our wildest dreams. I think it's really funny to see this man who is portrayed himself as a, you know, makeup mogul, beauty queen, whatever, living in Wyoming, allegedly for tax reasons, and also just having to beg for money on TikTok Live all day. That is karma incarnate, okay? That is karma incarnate. This was a very heavy video, but thank you so much if you've made it to the end. Let me know down below what you want to see next, and I hope you all have a great day, despite the horrors that we've experienced today. Regardless, thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Might not be next week because of finals, but bye.